Kia ora, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for the call. This is a really interesting bill because essentially it amends the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act. And within that Act, Mr. Chair, the definition of alcohol is a product whose content is 1.15% ethanol by volume. So under the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act, that's what alcohol is. And what we've discovered through this process is that actually through the food standard and through the ingredients of certain products and the process by which they are made, that is, if hops are included and through the process of fermentation, through the food standard 2.7.2, the process enables products to be labelled beer. 2.7.3, fruit, wine, vegetable wine and mead. Products are able to be labelled as alcohol. 2.7.4, wine and wine product. So the reality is the definition of alcohol is not only contained within the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act, but it's also contained within the food standard, which is how we've got to the dilemma that we've got. Because under the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act, only alcohol can be displayed in alcohol areas of supermarkets. And what that particular act failed to do was to acknowledge that under the food standard, there are certain products, because of what they're made of and the process that they're made, can also be labelled alcohol when in fact they're not. So this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for legislation to actually get with the program. And the reality is in 2012, we'd had no low alcohol products for sale in New Zealand, but there's been a huge explosion of low alcohol products which do not meet the definition of what alcohol is by content. And that market actually is quite huge. As of May 2016, that's 4% of alcohol sales, which is $14 million. In Australia, the size of that market is 20%. So if we equated that out to New Zealand, we're actually talking about a $70 million market. And so I think that we had some incredibly robust discussion within the committee. We didn't choose to extend the definition of alcohol in the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act. What we have done is chosen to ensure that the effects of the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act now take into consideration products that by ingredients and by process now also meet what we consider to be alcohol, so that they can be displayed in a single area. And I'm going to highlight that a bit because we did have quite a few submitters. We had 30 submitters and 6 oral submitters. And the one issue that many of the submitters were worried about is that the supermarkets would get to choose whether or not products, not by content, but by definition in terms of the food standard, got to choose whether or not those products were contained in the alcohol section of the supermarket. And so with the agreement of industry, so I want to highlight that the supermarkets and everybody who submitted wanted alcohol products, whether they were by 1.15% ethanol or by what they were labelled as, to be displayed in one area of the supermarket. I think that consensus really has driven the changes that the Select Committee made. So I know other members of the Select Committee might not think that's a big deal, but I think it's a big deal. And I think that New Zealanders think it's a big deal, because they only want to see alcohol products sold in the alcohol area of the supermarket, and this legislation will enable that. Thank you.